Hi everyone. Today I am reading a story that is a fairy tale, and this fairy tale has characters who are a prince and a princess. I'm going to think a little bit about what a prince and princess look like in most fairy tales. How do they look? What do they wear? How do they normally behave? Think about that for a minute. And now think, since we're talking about clothes right now, what kind of clothes do you think a princess or a prince would wear? Do you think it's kind of important that they have fancy clothes? Or do you think that's not so important? Think about that for a minute. The story that we're reading is called The Paper Bag Princess. The story is by Robert Munsch, and the illustrations are by Michael Martchenko. Okay, I think you're going to like this one. The Paper Bag Princess. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess. She lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. Expensive means they cost a lot of money. So she had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all of her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. Can you see that? Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. Can you pause for a minute? Make a prediction. If she doesn't have anything, she doesn't have even clothes, she doesn't have any tools or weapons or anything to help her, how do you think she's going to get Prince Ronald back? Think about that, I wonder. So she looked everywhere for something to wear, but the only thing she could find was not burnt was a paper bag. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forests and horses' bones. Finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of the knocker and banged on the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, a princess. I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." He slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed the knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait," shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" So smart means he's good at thinking of things, but fierce means everybody should be kind of afraid of him, right? So are you the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world? "Yes," said the dragon. "Is it true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon, and he took a huge, deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire left to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds?" "Why, yes," said the dragon, and he jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic! Do it again!" So the dragon jumped up and flew around the world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to walk, and he lay down and went straight to sleep. Why do you think she's having him do things like that? Try to burn down forests and fly around the world. Do you have any ideas? Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ear and put her head right inside. She shouted as loud as she could, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon was so tired he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over the dragon and opened the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and said, "Elizabeth, you are a mess. You smell like ashes, your hair is all tangled, and you are wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you are dressed like a real princess." What do you think Elizabeth should say to him? Do you think it matters very much that she's dressed that way? What do you think is important here? I'm thinking about how she's been acting. She's been very brave. She tried to save him. She's been very clever in tricking that dragon. Let's see what Elizabeth says. She says, "Ronald, your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." A bum is kind of like someone who doesn't treat people very nicely and they don't work hard to be the best that they can be. So what do you think? Do you agree he's being kind of a bum, not doing his best? Or what do you think? She says, "But you're being a bum. They didn't get married after all." The end. So think for a minute what that tells us about clothes as we're starting to think more and study clothes. It's neat to think about them and dress different ways and try on all kinds of things. But what do you think is more important, the way someone dresses or the way that they behave and treat people? I noticed in this story, Elizabeth couldn't always wear fancy clothes after her castle and her clothes got burnt down, but she was being brave and kind and clever and smart. And so I want you to think for a little while, what does that tell you about clothes and how important they are or how important they are not? And maybe you can talk about that a little bit with your family today, or maybe we can talk on our Zoom call. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon.